all of the touch days are over. All the touch days are over. And there is a 1 minute eye test, 1 minute eye test. And if you are expecting here to switch it, please not flash.
Okay, it was like, what's going to happen? The movie was still warm. Best experience in my life. When you get the little kids from the field, it's so good.
Start for the third corner.
1,94,94.
Just needs to get this sorted out. Go. Goody.
Perfekt.
Genau.
Good morning and welcome back to Lillehammer in Norway. Another stunning alpine Arctic morning as we get ready for the 8th and final race of the Monobob World Cup. Well, 17 sleds in our field this week. Our American competitors have headed back to the USA to work on their Lake Placid performance for the upcoming World Championships. A couple of others are absentees, but we have a note from their mum, so that's okay. The track that they raced on last week will be just as quick and challenging, and as before, short start, important to get in, get settled before the first corner. If you skid into here, then you may as well almost not have bothered starting. Lisa Bukvitz with the track record at the start set last year. Out of corners 2 and 3, and then into the first left-hander at 4, little shoot down into corner 5. Those workers sort of one turn almost. Corner 6, big 180-degree corner that leads you into the labyrinth. If you come late off 6, these 3 corners, 7, 8, 9, can be really troublesome. Out of the big corner 10, quickly into 11, and then very quickly into corner 12 as well, and that sets you up for 13, good, bad or indifferent, which governs your speed for the rest of the run. Little dink in 14, then corners 15 and 16. Track record set by Keisha Love in January last year when she won gold. She won gold last week as well. A dead heat for gold, of course, with Brianna Walker of Australia. And Brie is lying second in the World Cup rankings, tied with Lauren Alter. Keisha Love won't be here to challenge for the top 3, so we have a wrestling match for our 3 positions at the top of the race for the Crystal Globe. Well, plenty else to be decided here today as well, and of course final win of the season before the World Championships gives you that little bit of a moral boost. Just saw Lauren Alter. Brianna Walker's in really good form in the monobob as ever, and in the women's bobsleigh. And Kim Kalicki, well, let's see if she can find herself a good monobob run to end the season. Couple of 4th place finishes, 5th, 6th, 8th, 10th, a 15th place. Just saw Cynthia Appiah, her first top 6 mono finish last weekend. And former European Championship silver medalist Andrea Grecu last week, the Europeans. And it was Lauren Alter who claimed the European title. Well, our entry list today started by Kelly van Petegem of Belgium and Simi Adiagbo of Nigeria, with last week's rookie Erica Vos going off 3rd, and then Victoria Chinanska, Sarah Blizzard will round out the field. 17 sleds. The fastest 20 will always go through into Heat 2, so everybody who finishes the run will get a second heat. Final Monobob World Cup race of the season here in Lillehammer, Norway, and Kelly van Petegem of Belgium is first off. Her 11th Monobob World Cup start. A 25-year-old, first time here this season. 16th in the overall World Cup rankings. Let's see what today's track brings. It is clear and bright, as you can see, which means cold overnight lows, which means the ice will be like marble, so it will be hard and fast. And it is, again, potentially track record territory. Little nudge away through corner 9, so she came late off 6. Down through 15 and 16. Little tap out of 13. Corner 15. Big double pressure. And across the line, ducks ahead out of sight, 54.69. Round of applause from a coach. And Van Nieuwenhuis also helping out Sarah Blizzard, so she'll have the first and the last sled on ice. Finished 15th in last week's field. Bobsleigh, 23 sleds in the monobob. So 4 of our US sliders. Keisha Love, the winner. Sylvia Hoffman, Kaylee Humphries and Alana Myers-Taylor have disappeared from the field. So the US alone has a pretty significant impact on the field. Next up, Simi Adiagbo from Nigeria. The 43-year-old raced here back in 2021 for the first time. Sandra Kiriasis in the red and white in the background is her coach. Raced here last week, finished 23rd. She will get a second heat today as long as she makes it down in one piece. Only her 4th Monobob World Cup race, but she is already a Winter Olympian, competed in Pyeongchang for Nigeria in skeleton, then converted to driving bobsled. 300ths of a second ahead of Kelly van Petegem, just dropping behind her a fraction. And one of the advantages in the women's monobob field is that everybody has access to the same sleds, so the same sleds made by a German high-tech manufacturer. And then you get to use and choose your own runners. So in Nigeria, they will have a selection from the Sandra Kiriasis collection. Across the line, 4,500s back, 55.14. Great opportunity for an athlete like Simi to spend 2 or 3 weeks on the same track and in competition against the best. So it's more than just training, but it gives you a great opportunity for that run repetition. And if you're doing the same thing on the same track, and then you start to change a little and make those differences, then you really start to get that feel for the sled and feel for the ice. Little skids down there from 13 to 14. It'll just be a brief little pause. Didn't quite get the braking right there. So 5:86 start. So 200s behind at the top, 4,500s back. Now, Erica Vos, former brakewoman for Canada, 5 World Cup starts on the brakes, the last of which was in January 2023, just before the IBSF World Championships. This is her 2nd drive in the World Cup in monobob. Made her debut here last week. And another debutante in the 2-man field this afternoon for Canada. 5:79 getaway. Well, she qualified for the 2nd heat last week with an 18th place finish in run 1, and then slipped a couple of spots in her 2nd heat, but still has a top 20 finish as her debut performance. 2nd best speed, 1200. She's holding her advantage over Kelly van Petegem. Just a little late on a couple of these exits. Oh, and again, flirting with disaster there, whether she knows it or not. Might well have felt a little of the sled running faster through the corners than she might have expected. Across the line, 300s in it. Bad looking drive so far from Erica Vos this morning, and brings it nicely into the station as well. Well judged. That's the brakewoman's skill there. Little high and late, has to drive it off hard. And recovered the steering position well to get on to 13. Just came out a little later, I think, than she was expecting. A little twitch of the runners to try and mitigate that impact with the wall. Good stuff. So first 3 sleds down. Now we get into our regular top 10 candidates, our top 10 seeds. This is Cynthia Appiah. Sin currently 11th in the World Cup standings. Probably not the season she was expecting. only 2 results above 10th place. So 6th place finish last week, her best of the season. 5.66 getaway, so a 1300s advantage over current leader and teammate Erica Voss. Little tap 4 to 5. Corner 6 big, more than 180-degree omega corner. Extending her advantage over Erica. Looks like Cin's really got herself dialed into the track. Decent exit out of 13, down to 14. A little right-hand flick, and then 2 pressure, corner 15. Across the line, how far in front? New track records. There we go. It just has that look this morning, doesn't it? Bright sunshine and cold overnight temperatures. There you go. And that's despite a big slip at the start. First step on the ice, Spikes just carved it out. Didn't dig in, and then doesn't get in quite as cleanly as she might have done. Nevertheless, track record for Cynthia Appiah. So we know the track has never been faster. And the athletes likewise. What's Andrea Grecu of Romania got for us? Just 1 spot ahead of Cynthia Appiah in the World Cup ranking. She's in 10th position at the moment. 5.74, so starts 800 slower. It looked like a slightly cleaner start. .900's back. Was 800s behind at the start. Cynthia's fast to get away. Will carry her down through corner 6. Oh, skidding down the labyrinth. She's not losing much, but she can't stop that deterioration of speed, and a big skid all the way from 13 to 14. Double tap, came on to 14 on the wrong side as well. Across the line, yeah, that absolutely murdered her time. '13 has been particularly tricky for the last couple of weeks. If you get it right, that's fine. But if you don't, and this is the exit of 13, and she doesn't steer off it, but she steers away from the wall and not allowing the nose of the sled to run out wide. The back is still going out wide, hence the big skid. And that's the reverse angle away from 13 down to 14. Okay, 1 more to tidy it up. Cynthia Appiah, our leader, after the first 5 sleds. First heat of the day for our World Cup points leader, Lisa Buchwitz, last year's World Cup champion, leads the chase for the silver globe, as well you might expect, with a silver and 3 golds to start the season. Worst result has been 6th place. 5.59 getaway. And if this is not a track record, then something weird is happening. Not too bad, 4 to 5. Everybody's taking that little tap. Key is not to get the skid as well, just to accept that's happening. Nice entry into the labyrinth. Down to 10 and 11. These 2 corners run together into corner 12. And the exit here decides your entry into 13. Nicely done. Takes the tap, doesn't get too much of a skid. Only 200s ahead of Cynthia Appiah, and now behind. Whoa, runner selection not the best. Well, well, well. How very interesting. Finished 5th last week here. May not yet quite have unlocked all the secrets. Well, when you come offline into 13, you get hard onto the corner. Little tap and a little skid. You see her sitting well back, leaning back in the sled. And look at the hands, knuckles close together. Some drivers have their hands apart, sort of knee width apart almost, and most have their knuckles right together in the centre there. Next up, Kim Kilicki for Germany, finished 10th last week. Lauren Alter was really the one German driver who got the best out of the track last week. She finished in bronze medal position, took the European Championships. Kilicki, last week her first World Cup monobob race on this track. She raced women's bob last season here, but wasn't in the mono. 5.76, that was sort of mid-season as she was still recovering from a strained muscle. And Maureen Zimmer did, what, 3 races mid-season for her last year. It's not the tidiest run, is it? Kilicki is such a good driver of women's bobs, but the sled is moving around behind her a lot. She's trying to lead the front runners. The backs have got a bit of a mind of their own. She does sit quite a long way forward in the sled, and that means that the back is not really quite as well balanced. Half a second back. What the brake women watching in the coach's box. No room for a coach. .76 start's not bad, but half a second back. Kim Kilicki in 4th at the moment. Again, in the gutter coming into 13. And so you get hard onto the corner. Wasn't a bad run down towards 14. Little skid, but pushes her nose on. She goes sideways onto 14. She'll be happy if she never has to see a monobob again, I think. Next up, one of our winners last week. Our coach Pierre Luders sets the sled for Brianna Walker. Let's see what Brie can produce here. She's in the sort of form that we ought to be looking at our leader here. We ought to be looking at a new track record. Gets in nicely, gets down. 5.63 is excellent starting. 300's faster than our current leader, Cynthia Appiah of Canada. Out of 4, little square tap into 5. A 10th up in 6. Nice exit out of 6 into the upper part of Labyrinth. 7, 8, corner 9 here. And then down to 10 and 11. This 10, 11, 12 sequence can be so tricky. She's got the best speed. Out of 13, little skid down to 14, 1300ths of a second up. So she's lost a fraction, second best speed. Should have the record, does have the record. See, can the coach ask for more? Fastest start, fastest run, track record, lead. And realistically, for victory, maybe 2 potential rivals, maximum still to come. do feel that on a morning like this morning, maybe the track will get quicker for the second heat as well. So we may even end up with more track records, might get down into the 53s. She so nearly did then anyway, a 54.01. But still waiting their turn is our former youth Olympic champion on this track, Lauren Alter, at the very least. Before her though, Margot Bock of France, 13th here last season, only 17th last week. So she will want to turn that around a little. Doesn't have the starting firepower of some of our quickest pushers. 5.83, 2/10 behind Brianna Walker. And as a result, Margot spends her entire run trying to undo her starting deficit. The good news for the French is that she can definitely drive the sled. Nice run through the labyrinth, nice and smooth. Gap continues to grow though, only the 7th best speed. Top 6 run from 7th at the start, 5th best speed. She's building her speed down the run, 5th at the line. Now that's more like the Margot that we know compared to last week. That should be a top 10 run. Best result this season, 9th place finish in Sigulda. She had a 10th place run as well. I beg your pardon, 2 10th place runs in Altenburg and Sigulda. So this might be heading towards a personal best. Again, see the hands close together. It's a way I think probably a lot of coaches teach drivers to drive so that they can measure how much they're steering by the knuckles touching together. Next up for Canada, Melissa Lotholz finished in 14th place last week. The North America's Cup champion last season. This is her first time driving here in Lillehammer. Then Rush, Justin Cripps encouraging her getaway, 5.69. Only 600s off the leader at the start. And again, for somebody who is new to this track, spending the extra time here. Paid training before last week's official training, and then more again this week. A chance to improve and finesse your lines and your steers. Worth its weight in gold. A little late out of 12. Not bad out of 13, gets a decent run down the straight. Top 5 run. Margot Bock at the moment, 5700s back. It's going to be close with the Frenchwoman. No, it's not. She's ahead of Bock and Andrea Grecu, 4th place. So 2 Canadians in the top 4 at the moment. Nice run from Melissa Lotholz. Like teammates Cynthia Appiah and Erica Voss, former brakewoman who has moved to the front seat. Took a year out after the games in Beijing, and then another year to regain her driving status to come back to World Cup. See how close she sits to the cowl? That's how you would sit in a 2-seat sled in women's bob with the brakewoman behind you. Probably not ideal for balance, but she is in 4th place ahead of Andrea Grecu by 300s, Margot Bock by 8. 10 sleds down here in Lillehammer. Our 11th starter, 4th place finisher last week, Melanie Hassler. Does she get a chance to take a medal here for Switzerland? 5:71 getaway. 900s behind our race leader Brianna Walker at the start. 800s, I can't count. Nice from 4 to 5. Smooth line so far. 6th best speed in 4th place though. She needs to find a bit more speed lower down. She can hope of challenging for a top 3 position. Ooh, long skid, 13 to 14. Gap's going to grow, the speed's going away. She may be ahead of Melissa Lottholtz. She is 3700s back, and that is 2200s out of 3rd. She's going to need a pretty epic second heat to take a medal. We still haven't seen Lara Nolte. She'll be up next. So that might be a top 5 run. Loads nicely, trying to vault in and carry that speed. Out of 13. Trying to hold it away from the wall on her left. Ends up in the wall on her right, the wrong side, going into 14. So now, Lara Nolte, our 2-time world champion in women's monobob, and our youth Olympic champion here in Lillehammer back in 2016. Claimed the European Championship gold with a bronze medal finish last week, because of course Brianna Walker from Australia, Keisha Love from the USA, not Europeans. They were our joint winners. So 5:69, just 600s slower away than our current leader Brianna Walker. Bree still with the fastest start, second fastest start rather, to Lisa Buchwitz. So Buchwitz started a 10 faster. And the gap's out from 6 to 1600. She needs to turn that around. Still growing, 1800s, but second best speed. Lara Nolte coming back nicely out of 13, best exit of 13 we've seen. Did she have to work too hard for it? Maybe. Speed's going away a little. Will she be top 3? No. 3100s back. She's going to have to produce something very special in the second heat to take a medal here. Brianna Walker, Cynthia Appiah, Lisa Buchwitz covered by 1500s. And another 1600s behind Buchwitz, Lara Nolte in 4th. Well, this will be only her second race of the season off the podium. Of course, there's all still to go in the second heat. Anything can happen. Very easy to make a mistake. Again, you see Nolte with the hands apart, sort of knee width apart. It's just what works for you when you're learning. That's the habit you get into. Kathi Beil for Austria next, with her coach Wolfgang Stampfer. Kathi finished 11th in the race here last year in the mono, 13th last week. And then risked life and limb after the race last week with Monta, who does lots of our social media interviews and work for us, on one of the little 2-seat toboggans on the run that they had set up for the kids. She let Monta drive, which it seemed to work out okay. She's here anyway. 1600s up, behind rather. 6th place, hovering around a top 6 run, but oh, got the entry into the labyrinth all wrong, and 7, 8, 9 did not go well for her. Slipping away from that top 6. 6th best speed. 6th place at the moment, Melissa Lott holds 4900s back. 7th is 5200s back, and that is Andrea Grecu. 8th is Margot Bock, 5700s back, so she's a couple of hundreds ahead of the Frenchwoman. Curses. Exeter 6 leads you down the wrong path into the labyrinth if you get it wrong. And again, 12-13, such a short transition, the speed of these modern sleds. And on the wrong side going in. Gets the tap, gets the skid, steered hard as well. She's annoyed with herself. Next up for Great Britain, Adele Nicol. Made her monobob debut in Innsbruck last season. Her World Cup best, race 2 in Innsbruck. Her 2nd ever monobob race. Finished in the top 10. Let's see if she's got that speed again here today. It's gradually coming back after she injured her foot quite badly, getting caught under a runner at the start of one of the early races this season. 12th best start, still not where she would expect to be. 4/10 back. 7th best speed. Little offline in the labyrinth. Starting to pick her way back up the order though. 5th best speed. Good looking drive so far. Little tap and a skid down to 14. Is this going to be enough to drag her into the top 10? It's very tight at the bottom. Not quite. Slip behind. 200s behind Kelly van Petegem. 12th at the start, 13th at the bottom. Not having that initial speed is always going to haunt you on the way down. She found pace later on. Oop. And trying to vault over the seat back. Got her foot up on the cowl. And again, you can see with the white gloves, or with the pale hands, hands knee width apart. 3 to go here in the first heat of the 8th and final Monobob World Cup race of the season. And our 15th starter is China's Ying Qing, now 27 years old. She finished in 18th place last week, 7th last year. So she's still coming back to fitness. No longer as race rusty as she was when she returned. In and down 5.79. So 10th fastest start. Let's see how she comes out of corner 6. Nicely on to 7. And working well through the labyrinth. Losing a little bit of speed though, only 12th on the splits on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And only the 14th fastest speed. She's our 15th sled, so only one sled slower at this stage. It's not going to be a top ton run at all for Ying Qing. Across the line at 14th place, 54.88. She will get a second heat, no danger of that not happening. 17 starters this morning, and they will all go through to the second heat. Again, see how far back she sits. Her head is almost above the rear axle there as she's leaning back as well, getting that weight balance as good as she can. Helping out Victoria Chinanska again is Sandra Kyriasis, Youth Olympic silver medalist in St. Moritz in 2020. Still just 22 years old. Missed the cut last week, 21st place finish. 6:06 is the start. She's only missed a cut twice this season. She will get a second heat again today. Comfortable exit out of 6 means the labyrinth has gone nicely for her. Down to 10 and 11, out of 10, into 11, straight into 12. How does that send her into 13? Out to 13, a skip that almost everybody is taking down to 14. And the final 2 corners. Across the line, 16th place, 55.24. So Victoria Chinanska a 10th behind Nigeria's Simi Adiagbo. Yep, holding on to the brakes, make sure the sled doesn't start rolling back down the slope. Looking for a little bit of help down at the bottom. This is 12 to 13, came on quite nicely there. Her exit out of 12 looked decent, and it was. And then brought it off 13. Little tap. Not too much skidding down into 14. That put her on the right side for 14. So not too much early height in 15. And our final sled is from Australia. So this is Sarah Blizzard. Current leader is her compatriot Bree Walker. Well, Bree has been running her own team for several years, coached by Pierre Ludes. Sarah, coached by Anne van Nieuwenhuis of Belgium. 5:89. Seventeenth place finish in Sigulda, her best result of the season so far. From a 16th best start, let's see if she can claw her way a little further up the order. 17th best speed. It's only her 8th World Cup race in a monobob. Nice smooth exit. 12 to 13, a nice smooth exit. 13 to 14. And bringing it across the line in 15th place. Ashley Werner there on the right, former driver, now her brakewoman, celebrating every little gain, because this is a sport, when you get to this level, it is all about marginal gains. Just finessing everything every time you're in the sled. And you spend so little time in the sled in a season. So what we're looking at, let's say it averages out at a minute a run. That'll be 6 runs per weekend, 10 weekends of the year. That's it. That's your regular season, 60 minutes. And all the rest is preparation for that. So, Australia's Sarah Blizzard is 15th. Australia's Brianna Walker looking for her second consecutive win on this track. Joint winner last week with Keisha Love. And Brie is our first heat leader. New track record and things that she can tidy up for the second run as well. Good position to be in. Well, she doesn't have the biggest margin, just 900ths of a second ahead of Cynthia Appiah. Appiah would be looking for her first ever mono win in World Cup. Lisa Buchwitz looking for her umpteenth. Where is she? Eighth so far. And she'd be looking for a 9th win. Lauren Alter probably not going to win from 3/10 back, but she's narrowly ahead of Mel Hasler. And then the log jam: Melissa Lotholz, Andrea Grecu, Katie Bile, Margot Bock, Kim Kalicki, Erica Voss, Kelly van Petegem, Adele Nicol, all in one big lump from 6th down to 13th. That should make the second run highly entertaining. Join us for that if you can. 10:30 CET, 09:30 Greenwich Mean Time. That is 04:30 Eastern. We'll see you then. Until then, on Lillehammer. Bye for now.